So I'm going to do two different videos looking at Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. The first one's going to be the main riff that opens up the song, and then there'll be a separate video on the chords, on how to sing the lyrics and match it up with the chords and the strumming. Okay, so here's the riff of Brown Eyed Girl. Go into the strumming. Okay, so the first thing to sort of say here before we look at the tabs is you need to get your second finger, so this one, and that stays on the third string and it slides up and down. So the whole way through this riff, apart from the D chord at the end, that finger stays on this riff and you've got two shapes. Now it's good to learn these two shapes because it is a lot of other songs, so once you've learn how to do this, it does transfer onto a lot of famous riffs. So so get that second finger and slide it along the third string and get used to how that's going to stay on there, because what you don't want to be doing is like shifting your hand around like this. You want to go from shape to shape but nice and smoothly. Okay, so the first shape you're going to do is, say this is on the 5th fret. The first shape is where it's parallel, which means it's on the same fret. So this is on the 3rd string. This finger here, the 3rd finger, is going on the 1st string, and they're both on the 5th fret. So I'm going to get my thumb and a finger to just pick them. So that's one shape. Now the other shape you've got to deal with is keeping this second finger here on the 3rd string, is to put your first finger now. So you've got the 3rd finger on this side and your first finger on this side. This one goes on the fret behind and it looks like that. So I'm going to show you the tab now. We'll just work through the very first shape. If you can master the first 3 little steps, the rest of the song's pretty easy. Okay, so before we look at that, our first finger needs to go on the 3rd fret, 1st string, so here, and then put your second finger up on the 3rd string on the 4th fret, so then you got that second shape we worked on, so you can see that now. So pluck them together, so that's the start of it. And then the next shape, let me just zoom in a bit so I can just isolate this shape. So the next shape, you're moving them both to 5, so you got to move this second finger up to 5 and put your 3rd finger parallel on the same fret, but it's right at the bottom. So throughout this riff we're using the 1st and the 3rd string all the time, so that sounds like that. So you got 4 and 3, 5 and 5, and the next one is 7 and 7. So you've got the shape already. Just move it up 2 frets. 1, 2. So the whole riff is just them 2 shapes but in different places. So you got, and one thing to note is my second finger is staying on that 3rd string. So look at my second finger. It's my 1st and 3rd finger doing all the work either side. Okay, so the next bit after that, it goes back down. So you're going up the scale to the 7 and back down to the 5, 5 and the 4, 3 again. So you're going up the shape and back down. So you got, okay. Let's go to the next bit. And you'll be happy to know what I'll do is I'll just show you is where you got this little shape moving like that. The next bit, it's up the guitar fretboard, but if you look at the actual shapes, I start on that shape, go to the parallel shape, so you can see that actual shape of that is the same as this. Okay, so let's go to the second bit now. where you're starting on, the first finger is going to go on the 8th fret, and your second finger is going to go on the next fret along on the 3rd string on the 9, so that stays on there. Pinch them together, so thumb on the 3rd string, use any finger on that 1st string. So after the 9 and 8, you're on 10 and 10, so slide this second finger up to the 10 and then put the 3rd finger on, because that's the parallel shape. You can't really get your 1st finger like that because you're twisting your hand too much. So 10 10 and then 12 12, so shift that shape up too, back to the 10 10 and then back to the 8 9 or 9 8. So notice my second finger here. So looking at the first shape to that one is then up to the, and you'll be happy to know that the 3rd shape is exactly the 1st shape, so you can play that. So you've virtually got most of that riff sorted now. Now this very last bit here, I'll just focus on the chord, is a D chord. This is what a tab version of D looks like, how the notes are stacked up. I'll just show you how to play the chord first. So first finger on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. Second finger down here on the 1st string. And then your 3rd finger there on the string in between them two on the 3rd fret. And you can just strum down from the 4th string. Now if you keep your fingers there, you will notice when you look at this tab, from the 4th strings are 0, yeah? And then this is on the 2nd fret, this is on the 3rd fret on that string, and the last string is on the 2nd fret. So you can see how this relates to it being stacked up on the tab. So you can see here you're on the D, you've got a 3 there, and then the next note is you're just plucking that 3 on its own. So you can keep that D shape and then just pluck the 2nd string. So this hand doesn't have to do anything. You just strum the chord and then pluck the 2nd string, because your 3rd fret is automatically on. And the last 2 notes are on the 1st string and it's 0 2, but I don't want you to take this shape off. I want you to take the 0 2 off on the 1st string. So take your 2nd finger off and go 0, pluck the 0 and put it back on for the 2. So you might be inclined to go something like this, like that, 0 2, but really you can go, see that, you can keep the shape and you can keep the chord ringing out rather than it cutting dead like that. So lift your 2nd finger off to do the 0 2. It's like you're releasing the note from underneath it. So now if I was on a gig, I wouldn't really be where's the plectrum? I wouldn't really be picking it with my fingers like that. You can do that, that's good, but I do it with a plectrum like, because it just projects, the sound projects a lot more rather than just like that, you know, if you want a bit of volume. So the little trick to that is I'm playing the shapes, but I'm not going, I'm not just plucking at strumming every string, and I'm not hooking my fingers round like you would do with open chords. What I'm doing is I get it on and I flatten my fingers like that, so pull my hand down, because what happens is this 2nd finger will start touching that 2nd string and it'll cut it off. So listen, so now you only hear these 2 notes, and the middle note, this 2nd string, is cut off by this, because if I hook it round you can hear it, and then that cuts it off. So So that's a little bit of a tricky technique to do, to be cutting off and muting. So if you're a total beginner, I would advise not to do that. If you were a bit more advanced, the thing that you don't really get told a lot is when you're watching videos and stuff is that there's a lot of muting that happens on in this hand, and sometimes when you're copying someone and you're playing it and it sounds like not quite right, it's because there's hidden things always happening with this hand. So, alright, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the riff. If you just have a look for the Brown Eyed Girl chords and lyrics next. Thank you. Bye.